welcome back to Premier League Primetime, the start of a brand new season, Season 2. The Premier League season of 2021 and 2022 is just around the corner, just next week or not even in a week on Friday, where Arsenal take on Brentford to kick off the new season. And I'm joined by, of course, the rest of the Fab Four. How are all of you doing? And how's your summers been? Have you been enjoying the Euros, the Copa America, etc.?
Yeah, it's been great. I definitely enjoyed the Euros. I wanted Spain to win, and they went pretty far, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
That's great. Cyrus, what about you? Are we gonna hear anything? All right, lovely. And all right, good. All right. He's giving us a thumbs up. So, that's progress. That's progress. For me, watching Euros was great up until the finals, where a certain brilliant manager chose a 19-year-old who's had to carry a certain club on his back literally the entirety of last season to take like the most crucial penalty. Just brilliant. But anyways, other than that, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling ready, and I cannot wait for this season to start. And quickly before we jump right into this, I do want to say to throw a shout out to Robbo. Robbo is he's left our channel, but due to other circumstances. Nothing grave, nothing terrible. He's just having a lot going on right now. It doesn't mean he's never coming on the show again. Trust me. And if there's one thing I will make a priority, he will be back. I promise that. But yeah, I just wanted to just throw out to Robbo a massive thank you from all of us, and I wish him nothing but the best. Anyways, let's get right into this. Let's look at some of the transfer windows that some of the clubs around the Premier League have had, and let's start off with Arsenal. Cyrus, over to you. They signed 3 players so far. They started by signing left back Nuno Tavares for roughly £7 to £9 million from Benfica. Albert Sambi Lokonga, the Belgian midfielder from Anderlecht, for £17 million plus add-ons. And of course, the big one from Brighton. No, not Yais Bissouma, which I thought Arsenal would be signing, but they opted to sign his teammate, an Englishman, Ben White, center back for roughly £50 million. Seriously, what have you thought of Arsenal's transfer dealings so far in terms of both ins and outs?
I thought it's been all right. I think maybe there's still room for improvement. A couple more signings. I think the 2 signings, Lokonga and Nuno, I think they've been good during preseason. We have a good left back option. Tierney, obviously. I love Tierney. Gets injured a lot, so it's a good backup option. And Ben White. A lot of people are saying he's like super expensive, way too expensive. I'm gonna have to agree with that. He is, but if he plays like 50 million, I'll be happy. So we'll see. He had that good goal line clearance in his debut. So we'll see. See how it goes. I kind of want a couple more signings, but it's Arsenal, so I'm not really expecting much this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you summed up Ben White perfectly. And let's be real. If his name was something like, I don't know, like Ben Whiteinho or something like that, you can just slash like £30 million from that price tag. But because he's English, that price tag's going up. But Arsenal getting a good defender. That's what I said when we first signed Harry Maguire. You're getting a good defender. You're getting a good young player who's so much potential, and he's only going to improve with time going on. Next, we're going to move to Manchester City, and a couple of days ago, they sealed a £100 million move for Aston Villa captain Jack Grealish. This one came somewhat out of the blue, as they are also heavily linked with the player that I know Andre hopes will leave his beloved club. But just want to throw it out there. What do you guys make of Manchester City's 100 million pound move to make Jack Grealish the most expensive import in Premier League history, or the most expensive transfer in Premier League history.
Yeah, I think he was like the most expensive player to like not play in the Champions League yet, or something like that. It was like it was by a huge difference. He's obviously a class player. I think City are just so stacked in that attacking mid position. It'll be interesting to see how they fit everybody in. But yeah, Phil bags that. I love Jack Grealish a little less now, a lot less. That's
yeah. Apparently he grew up as a United fan, and he up and goes to Manchester City. But it's going to be interesting to see how Pep Guardiola, because now he has a massive influx of midfielders and attacking players. He's going to have a lot on his hands to deal with in terms of the striking options, the wingers, the attacking midfielders. Surely one of them's gonna have to go. Moving to Liverpool, they got this one done early in the window. Ibrahima Konate, roughly 36 million pounds, which is equivalent to 40 million euros, from RB Leipzig. Activated that release clause. What do you lot think of Ibrahima Konate?
I think the signing itself is a decent one. I think he's better than almost all their center backs, other than obviously Van Dijk. But I think that overall Liverpool have really been losers in this transfer window. I mean, they lost out on Wijnaldum for free, and their attacking midfield options are really limited now. I think they've got their only midfielder who really is good at carrying the ball forward is Keita, and he's very unreliable. So I think that Liverpool are going to have some more issues this season, I think, in attack especially.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'm sorry, Aiden, if you're watching, but yeah, as you said, Naby Keita is probably their best midfielder going forward. But there's every chance that the moment he touches the ball, he's pulled a hamstring or he's pulled a thigh injury. I mean, his legs are literally made of glass. They're literally just that fragile. Today, Fabrizio Romano confirmed and gave us the here we go for Chelsea's, and now the most expensive Premier League transfer or import, 115 million pounds. And I have to say, this deal got done quick. And for me, I look at Chelsea's negotiators and I'm just like, wow. I'm flabbergasted, especially, the amount of money involved to sign in, but 115 million pounds for former Chelsea and Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku. He is coming back. Fabrizio Romano gave the here we go. What do you lot make of Lukaku's return to the Premier League, and more specifically, his return to his former home, Chelsea?
I think it's an excellent signing. I think that it's exactly the player that they need. I think he suits their style really well. They have a similar style to Inter Milan, so I think it's pretty much guaranteed that he's going to get 20 plus goals for them this season.
Yeah, 100%. Cyrus, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I have to agree. It's maybe some competition for Werner. Maybe he'll step up his game. Depends if they play together. But, it's kind of a redemption time for Lukaku. I'm not saying his time at Man U was bad at all. I think it was pretty underrated, actually. But, it's a second chance for him to, do something again. And he was great for Inter. Let's see if he can come to the Premier League and do it. Because, it's quite so.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I mean, he literally turned from a good striker, a good Premier League striker, to a world class, all out number 9 center forward. I mean, this guy. He's transformed into one of the best strikers in the world right now. But regardless of what anyone wants to say, he is as of right now. And simple as that, to be honest with you. Moving to the other half of Manchester, who have done some seriously good business, which I've been for the most part pretty impressed, but didn't take a whole lot of brains. Jadon Sancho, the saga, it's finally over. I was lying on a beach in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, when my phone went off. I looked, and I saw, here we go, Jadon Sancho to Manchester United, done. And I got up and I was like, oh, happy days. And I ran and jumped into the ocean with joy. It was finally over. The pain and suffering of waiting for that deal was finally over. And I was like, thank the Lord, it's done. And they have also gone on and signed World Cup winner and 4 times Champions League winner Raphael Varane for roughly 45 million pounds from Real Madrid, a world-class center back. 2 world-class signings. Jose, are you happy with Manchester United's transfer dealing so far, or do you still think more is needed, regardless if it's in the door or out the door?
I think that I am happy with it, but the reason that I'm happy with it is because of how poor we've been in other windows.
100%.
I think that it was really, really easy to pick out these 2 players as players we could use and players that we could force the teams to get less money than they wanted for. Obviously, Sancho is a great signing. He fits perfectly into the right wing. And Varane, my other favorite team is Real Madrid, and I watch him all the time. I know how good he is. I'm very excited to see him in Manchester. I think that if we get a defensive midfielder, it'll be a perfect window for us.
Definitely. In regards of that midfielder, of course, I think it's just a wide-known fact now at this point that Manchester United needed a defensive midfielder. But for me, when I look at defensive midfielders, for me, there's 2 different kinds of styles of defensive midfielder. I'm just going to throw up two players that I know. On one side, you have the Wilfred and Diddy's who do really specialize in breaking down any incoming pressure and immediately just clearing the lines. And then on the other hand, you have your Jorginho kind of players who will do the shielding, but then has the ability to get forward into the attack, who can play it sideways, who can play it forward, who can distribute it all around the pitch. What kind of defensive midfielder do you think would suit us? Just throwing out a name or 2.
I think we could use the more physical one, the one that could break up the play. Someone like a Declan Rice, I think would be perfect for us. Well, whether we'll get him is I don't think we'll get him just because of how expensive he is and how he obviously would prefer to go to Chelsea. Maybe now with Chelsea paying so much for Lukaku, they won't look at him, and maybe they'll make him more available to us. But hopefully,
yeah. I mean, for me, I'll give my take on the window. I mean, I've been very impressed so far with the 2 signings, and for all those who are saying, "Oh, you're forgetting Tom Heaton." Tom Heaton doesn't count. Tom Heaton does not count. I don't care what anyone says. Getting a goalkeeper on a free, which is the last thing United need, which we already have a goalkeeping problem because we already have too many. I mean, we had to get rid of Romero, and now we're just bringing in Tom Heaton, and apparently we're looking to give Lee Grant, the GOAT himself, a brand new contract. So we're going to spend maybe either right below or roughly £1 million a week on goalkeepers. So happy days for me. But yeah, I've been pretty impressed with the window so far. I 100% agree. I think we need a midfielder of some kind, a defensive midfielder. For me, I actually disagree in terms of the kind. I don't think we need the Ndidi. I think we need more of the Jorginho kind of type, like a Ruben Neves would be perfect for me. I think he's a quality player, someone who does the shielding, but also is very, very good at going into the attack. And I mean, we've seen it, how brilliant this guy's passing range is, and this guy has hell of a shot in his boots. So, I mean that's my take on it. Shifting over to one of the more dead parts of England, we're shifting to North London, and Tottenham have made some signings. Daniel Levy has spent money. And although, I mean, they could have a whole lot more money if they decide to let a certain Englishman who's on strike right now leave. But let's just pretend I actually didn't just say that. They brought in Pierluigi Golini, goalkeeper from Atalanta. I've heard very good things about him on loan, but with an option to buy. And Andre's new love of his life, who he's been nothing but purely obsessed with since they've signed him, Brian Gill from Sevilla, who Fabrizio Patrici, their new technical director from Juventus, has likened him to him his signing of Federico Chiesa when he was at Juventus for roughly 26 or 21.6 million pounds plus Eric Lamela the other way. And last but not least, Christian Romero for 50 million pounds plus 5 million in add-ons from Atalanta as well. Very good center back, something that Tottenham just desperately need because I mean let's be real. I mean their defense was a shambles last year. And if they didn't sign Romero, I would be very worried for Tottenham. And it's not me just ripping on Tottenham. It's just, I mean, they got rid of their best defender in Alderweireld, which I didn't really get why, but Andre, I'll go to you. What have you made of Tottenham's dealing so far?
Yeah, I'm honestly beyond approved of every transfer that we've brought in. I think Romero was one of my first choices, if not my first choice for center back. I think my concern now is just getting the waste out, which has been a problem of Patriacci even at Juventus. I think Davinson seems like he's gonna be easy to get rid of, but Aurier and Sissoko, I think every fan is.
Oh, come on, not Aurier and Sissoko. Come on, who would Ndombele have to do their celebratory dance moves? After the game. I mean, come on, you don't want to break up the friends group.
It has to be broken. Even they want to leave. Even those two. Like it's time. It's time. I think after Sissoko's mistake in the League Cup final last year, I was totally done with him. Just like he's done.
Dang, it's really disappointing to hear.
Yeah. So it's just about getting a lot of players out, and then I would say we're looking at another center back. I think we're looking for another young player, but I don't think Romero is much of a leader. So I'd prefer if we went for someone with a little more leadership to kind of command him around the box.
I mean, they did have. I mean, Tottenham did have a certain Belgian with a tremendous amount of leadership skills, but they decided to sell him for for what I'd say is pennies, 15 million pounds to send him to Qatar.
Yeah, it was also the players' decision. I think even then, I think we've been lacking a leader in defense since the departure of Jan Vertonghen. I don't think Toby had it in him. I think the closest we have to it is Eric Dyer, who is not good enough. I think.
Yeah, Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
Such a great center, man.
But yeah, everything's going good. I think we're looking at a center back, a right back, a striker, and possibly a creative midfielder. I assume we'll get 2 or 3.
Tottenham need a lot of things, honestly.
Yeah. It's a rebuild phase. It's a rebuild phase.
I'd also say, between the two dead clubs in North London, I mean, I'd say Arsenal's done significantly better. I think they don't have that many more areas to address. I'm sorry, Andre, but I don't think so. I think I'm still pretty confident. I think I still think we're gonna finish above them personally. I think I've been okay. Serious, are you having that?
I'll let the deluded fan think what he wants to think.
All right. And into the departures. And I know you're absolutely gutted about this one, Andre. But Danny Rose, Tottenham's best left back. He's gone to Watford. And what do you make of this world class player leaving Tottenham? I know you were bawling in tears. Over the phone, when you heard the news. And I know you're still very disappointed. Thoughts on that?
Maybe no thoughts on that, but I think everyone at the show should maybe send something like a letter to Eric Lamela about how much we're going to miss him, because he is a brilliant player.
Boo-hoo. Yeah. I'm really going to miss Eric Lamela, more or less screwing over Martial, and was like the sole reason why his confidences went down the drain. I'm sure Cyrus is really going to miss Eric Lamela just elbowing Kieran Tierney in the face. I'm really sure he is. And then 2 teams that have just shocked me so far this transfer window. And I'll start with Leicester. They've done some very good business this window. They spent 23 million pounds to sign Patson Daka, one of the best younger and up and coming strikers from RB Salzburg. He was more or less the Erling Haaland replacement when he left for Dortmund. Babukari Sumari, a very, very good central defensive midfielder from Lille for 17 million pounds. And then Ryan Bertrand on a free from Southampton. Cyrus, what do you make of Leicester's business so far? And speaking of Leicester, I want to shift slightly to Arsenal, because I know Arsenal have been heavily linked with the move for James Maddison, and I also pull Martin Odegaard into this. Would you rather spend, and as an add-on question, would you rather spend 70 million pounds on Maddison or 40 million on Martin Odegaard?
Well, first of all, I think Leicester's had good business. Not to mention they beat Man City. They're just such an underrated club. Done so many great things. I think Bertrand's also a great signing. I've always rated Bertrand. I always wanted him at Arsenal, to be honest, before Tierney. But in terms of Maddison and Odegaard, I'd honestly rather have Maddison, even if it's 30 million more. I think Odegaard's an okay player. I just think he's kind of overrated, to be honest. I think last season he was okay. I think he had a couple good games, but besides that, definitely take Maddison. I know we've been giving up some, offering some players to Leicester. They can have them all because I don't care about anything.
I mean, are you sure? I'd be saying hands off of Eddie Nketiah. I mean, he's a world class player. He's brilliant. Right in front of goal. I mean, what would you say? Isn't Eddie Nketiah just a wonderful player in front of goal?
He's just like Jose when he plays. He's awful.
Apparently, he's just like Jose when he plays. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And the last one, Aston Villa, and all these deals were done before Jack Grealish even left, and I'm astonished. I mean, for me, they're one of the winners of the transfer window so far. They signed Emi Buendia. Let's not mention who they got. Emi Buendia, under the nose of for 38 million pounds from Norwich. Pricey. Leon Bailey, a brilliant signing in my opinion, for 30 million pounds from Bayer Leverkusen. Danny Ings was just out of the blue. I mean, that one was just, again, another great signing. I wonder how him and Ollie Watkins are going to cope with each other. 25 million from Southampton. And of course, former Man United player. Of course, how could we forget about the GOAT himself, Ashley Young, obviously, on a free from Inter. I mean, world class, left back. He's definitely going to take Matt Targett's place. I'll just throw it out to any one of you. What have you been thinking of Aston Villa's dealing so far? And apparently, they're looking to secure a deal for Joaquin Correa of Lazio, the center forward.
Yeah, I think they've done incredibly well. I think those were the two clubs I thought had done the best as well. But I think it's sad that Grealish is gone, but to bring in Buendia, creative midfielder, Bailey, one of the most exciting creative midfielders. I still think they need one more. I didn't know about that Correa deal. I think that's a perfect fit too. They brought in Danny Ings to partner Ollie Watkins. They're really loading up on attacking options. I think they're looking to threat this season. I think they should aim to go for that for a European spot.
100%. And before we shift over from the transfers into our predictions, I just had a few transfer rumors or questions to inquire. Cyrus, I'll start with you. Do you think Arsenal will sign a right back potentially, or do you think Mikel Arteta will keep faith in Mr. World Class at throw-ins and crosses himself, Hector Bellerin?
We were linked with, Hakimi back then. He got signed. We were linked with Dest. Don't think he's gonna leave. There's options. I think Bellerin is just not good enough. We saw last game he had an awful back pass against Chelsea. He's just not good enough. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I think he's a decent backup. I think Callum Chambers is a decent backup, but we have to sign someone. I don't think we will, to be honest. But it's kind of a weak point, to be honest. I don't know what we're gonna do there. I don't think Ainsley Maitland-Niles even wants to play there, to be honest.
No.
I think he's mid.
I honestly don't get it with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Teams want him because he can play right back, but he's like, no, I'm a midfielder, but he's not that great as a midfielder. You think he's better as a right back?
I think he is better as a right back. I think we saw him lose a couple of FA Cup games. He was playing left back, right back. He was great last year. I think, we've kind of messed up on the options for right back. With Max, I guess like a couple of options left, like Max Aarons. I don't know. We'll see what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, we will see. Into the next one. Jose, over to you. Do you think Manchester United will sign a midfielder before the transfer window shuts, or do you think we'll stick with what we have?
I'm pretty 50-50 on it, honestly. I think that considering how good the other two signings were, I wouldn't put it past Manchester United to just put it to bed and not worry about anyone else. If we do sign a midfielder, I feel like it's going to be someone like Camavinga, who will be not that much money, and he'll be probably a very good investment. But I don't know if he's really the exact kind of player we need. Not sure if he's really fully a defensive midfielder. I feel like he's more of a box-to-box midfielder. So I feel like we won't get the man we need, but we may get some other players.
Yeah. And speaking of on the matter, especially on Camavinga and who potentially you could be replacing. Paul Pogba. Do you think he will stay or go? Regardless if it's this window or signs a new deal or stays for the season. What are you saying about Paul Pogba?
I think he definitely stays for the season. Whether he leaves next year is dependent on how good of a season we have and how good of a season he has. I think that if he's playing a lot of games and he's an important part of the team, he may be convinced to stay. But if not, then he'll get going.
Yeah, 100%. And last but not least, Harry Kane. He's made it well known that he's not having it with Tottenham. He is not having it. Failed to report the first day back of training, then 2 days, and 3 days, and apparently he came out on social media and said he was gonna report in, I think, tomorrow or today or the next day or something like that. What do you make of this strong and quite frankly would be an unbelievable deal because it would cost so much money? Harry Kane to Manchester City, Andre, yes or no?
I was a yes before, and I think that it's exactly probably what he needs. Probably the easiest place to win trophies. But I think City have screwed themselves paying that much for Jack Grealish, because if Grealish is worth 100, what the hell is Kane worth? That Kane's almost near double that. I think we've already said we're not going to accept something below 160 in value. I think I'd take 100 plus another player, but City's offer before was a player and then a sum of money that together was worth 100, which Kane is worth easily more than that. So now I kind of doubt it's going to happen. I think he's going to have to just play through with our bullshit for another season, and then maybe in the summer or maybe even January he can leave. But I think he's going to start the season.
No, not in January. It's Daniel Levy we're talking about. Him leaving alone is already a big no-no in Daniel Levy's books, and January is a no-no.
Yeah, but if he isn't performing at the top of his form, it seems like we're going to bring in another striker then. And if he's that desperate to leave, then you never know. I'm just saying you never know. But I don't think he's going to leave by the end of the window, personally. I'd be surprised.
Anyways, let's jump into the second and last segment of our show. Let's look at our predictions for the Premier League season, and we'll start with who is going to win the league. Cyrus, I'll start with you.
I'm debating between Chelsea and Man City. I'm gonna go with Man City though. I think they just have so many options, especially in the midfield. They have Ruben Diaz. Like, I just don't see anyone getting close to them, maybe besides Chelsea. So yeah.
All right. Jose, what about you?
It has to be Man City for me. I think that Chelsea would be the next best, but I think that the way that they play is going to let them down. I think that they're too defensive, and they rely a lot on making a goal out of nowhere sometimes. And I think that might let them down in a few games and just might be their downfall to Man City.
All right. And Andre, what about you?
I give my benefit of the doubt to Chelsea. I think Chelsea will end up winners at the end of the season.
Yeah, 100%. For me personally, I couldn't have said it better to what Cyrus said. I actually more or less will take what he said as my own. I think it will be between Manchester City and Chelsea for the title, but I actually think Manchester City will just edge it. I don't think it's going to be, like last year, Manchester City, come February, just walked the rest of the league. I just don't think that will happen. I think it will be a serious battle. And if Manchester United recruit the right players and get rid of the deadwood, I think you could easily throw them into the hat as well. Not that they're going to win the league, but that they're in the running. I think you definitely could, especially if Solskjaer gets the team to click together, and if he stops playing, a certain midfield duo that literally just made me bored shitless. Excuse me, but McFred made me bored shitless last year. So Ollie, if you're watching, I don't want to see any McFred. No McFred, please, all my life, just no. Anyways, into the next one, top four. I think Manchester City is pretty much in all of our top four. So who would your other three be of the four?
Chelsea, United, and Leicester. I think Leicester will finally do it.
Really? Someone's actually going for the Mr. Brendan Rodgers. Okay.
Yeah.
You think unfortunately. So then when he gets fourth place, in that in that end of the season,
well, no, he's gonna get. He'll finish above United.
Okay. But
I just looked at the camera.
If he does, I also hope Brendan Rodgers says, I set the expectations from the beginning. Okay, I really wanted to finish in the top four to prove a certain little Tottenham fan wrong. Okay, and to show him why I love to get the Tottenham job. Okay. Jose, what about you? Who's in your top?
I'm gonna go with I think it'll be Man City first, Chelsea second, United third, and I think that Liverpool will scrape fourth place. I just can't see. I think this is the year for Leicester if they really want to get top four, but I think the Mr. Bottle job will be a Mr. Bottle job and they won't get it.
Yeah. Cyrus, what about you?
Yeah, I agree exactly with what Joe's saying. I think Leicester, personally, I think they'll be in fourth most of the year, and I think they're gonna bottle again. I think Liverpool will just scrape fourth as well.
I actually fully agree of what Jose said as well. And it's the Mr. Bottle Job Brendan Rodgers thing, isn't it? And I actually cannot believe my ears actually heard and processed Andre say that he's actually, pro Mr. Brendan Rodgers finishing top four. I honestly just cannot believe that, especially coming out of the man who's been doing nothing but slagging him off, to be honest with you. But hey, Leicester are in for a shout for the top four, 100%. But for me, top four, you can't have it without Tottenham and Arsenal. They've already cemented their place in the top four. Chelsea United are out. No, I'm only joking. The next three places below, Europa League and Conference League. I know nobody gives two shits about the Europa League and the Conference League. So sorry, Andre. Conference League, just because it's UCL, it doesn't mean it's the real UCL, because I know that's the shit coming out of your mouth, which is just
UCL football. Really.
Yep, 100%. Yep, yeah. And as I said in the season finale, I heard the music of the Conference League, and it's worse than the Europa League, to be honest with you. It's terrible. Hurts my ears.
Unpopular opinion, though, the Conference League is better than Europa League, and here's why. Here's why. Here's why. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for this. Because in the Europa League, you have to watch your starting 11 play against shitty opposition. Where in the Conference League, you can watch your youngsters, your young 20-year-old academy products, just kind of kill it for at least the first I don't know how many rounds. So I'm kind of more excited for the Conference League just to see our young players than I was the Europa League last year, because it's let's just not bottle it. That's the mentality you have to have every game.
But
Conference League, at least you can just watch. You can just enjoy your youngsters kill it.
But Andre, do you really think Nuno is going to make the decision to just throw out all the kids in the Conference League? This is a chance. Andre, look at me. This is a chance for Tottenham to win something they haven't won in over a fucking decade.
Yeah, you play your youngsters until like the quarterfinals or something. But like then you can maybe start to
They
rotate a
could
little
win a
bit.
trophy. They could
mean-
win a trophy.
I mean, it does. Look, trophies are overrated. Okay, like in 2 years that we'll be top four. We'll win a. We'll have other stuff. You know, it'll be fun. We'll be back to where we were, and then we'll win a trophy the right way.
I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't hear what came out of your mouth, but I mean, everyone has their difference of opinions. But you know, I'm just gonna pretend like I don't know, there was a gust of wind that I heard. Anyways, last or wait, no, not lastly. Cyrus, what about you? I'm gonna skip you.
In terms of like who's gonna get Europa League and stuff, I think
And Conference League.
well, no one cares about
I know,
that.
but European football, the other three European spots.
Maybe Leicester 5th. 6th, I'm actually gonna go with Aston Villa, to be
Okay.
honest. And 7th, I'm gonna go with Arsenal. And Tottenham is gonna finish outside the top 10.
Okay. Andre, what about you?
And I'm deluded. We had like one bad season. All right, whatever. No, Conference League. I think Arsenal will get Conference League.
What about Europa?
Oh, us for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if we don't.
And what about the other Europa League plays?
That one's open. I think Villa should have a good shot. I think it'll be really tight. I think it'll be really
Over
tight.
Liverpool.
I don't know.
Over Liverpool, who you said.
That's right. I forgot about Liverpool. Yeah, right. I was going to say, because in my head, I was thinking Liverpool would contest with Leicester for that 4th spot. But yeah, I forgot about definitely Liverpool.
All right. Jose, what about you?
Yeah, it's a tough point. It'll be interesting to see because I feel like there are 4 teams who would really be fighting for the spot, and it'd be Leicester, Villa, Arsenal, and Tottenham. It'll be interesting to see who doesn't get it. I think that Villa probably won't get it just because it might take them a few weeks to get their rhythm going. I think that because Arsenal don't have a European competition, they're going to be able to focus a lot on the Premier League, and they may get some more results because of that. So I'm actually going to go for Arsenal to finish 5th. I'll go for Leicester 6th and then Tottenham 7th.
Yeah. Again, I actually fully agree with you, Joe. I think because Arsenal don't have any European competition, I think that they'll be able to focus and on the Premier League. They don't have to play midweek, and then it's whether it's Wednesday, Saturday, or Thursday, Sunday. They're not gonna have to deal with that. And they'll be able to just focus on the Premier League itself. So I actually fully agree with everything you said there. Yeah, I think Arsenal will finish 5th, Leicester 6th, and yeah, I think Tottenham will just sneak into the Conference League again.
Wait, so no banter. I'm just curious. Wait, so do you all think that Arsenal are better set up to perform this season than Tottenham Hotspur?
No, I think you have a better team, but I think that Arsenal have less to focus on.
I fully agree with that. 100 million miles %. Yes, I do. I agree with that.
I think our team's better. So
Well, of course you do. Next, we have the bottom 3 relegation. Who are the shouts to get relegated this season?
I've been incredibly worried for what the hell is going to happen to Palace this season. They're not looking good right now. I think they have. I think they got rid of one of their best players and why am I blanking out? Townsend. I don't think they've solved their defensive issues and their manager appointment. He has done well in France, but that's another experiment right there. So I think Palace are going to be an incredibly turbulent side this season. I think they'll get relegated. I think the other ones with maybe be Norwich, and then I think Brentford could stay in. So the other spot's tough. Maybe Newcastle. I don't know.
All right.
I think Brentford and Watford will both stay in.
All right. Cyrus, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Norwich as well. I'm gonna go Norwich, Watford, and Crystal Palace. I agree with Andre about Crystal Palace, and I think Brentford are definitely gonna stay. At least I hope they do.
All right. Jose, what about you?
I think Palace is a great shout, and I really didn't think about them. I think that they've been chilling in the middle for a while, and now their manager is gone. They're gonna lose their rhythm. I think Crystal Palace is a great shout. I still think they might stay in. I'm gonna go Newcastle, Norwich, and Watford.
I'm gonna go with what Sears said, but also will bloody Burnley somehow survive yet again another season in the Premier League and just stay up?
I mean, Burnley's going to sign Messi, so he'll have a really good impact.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, Sean Dyche, more or less confirmed it. We all know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Him and Dwight McNeil are going to absolutely, tear defenders a new one and just apply, loads of crosses and headers for Barnes and Wood and Jay Rodriguez.
Yeah, Messi will be great, like coming off the bench.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't think Messi could even make the starting 11 of Burnley. No, absolutely not. But I actually agree with what Cyrus said. 100%. I mean that would be my shot as well. Norwich, Watford, and yeah, I think Crystal Palace are going to go down. I also do. Next, the sack race. And this is a really interesting one. Who do you think is going to be the first to be sacked this season, looking at all the managers in the Premier League this season? Sears, starting with you.
I think Crystal Palace manager is going to get sacked, to be honest.
Gunners legend?
Huh?
Gunners legend, Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, I just think he's still going to I also think that the Everton manager is going to get sacked.
Benitez.
It's not because of him. It's because my favorite player is not going to be able to play this season. So yeah.
All right. We're just gonna let that go. We're just gonna let that be open ended.
Say his name.
Adrian, what about you?
Honestly, it's such a tough one. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll go Vieira, but that's a really tough one. Maybe what's his name at Newcastle might also go.
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce is a good shout too.
Yeah.
Bruce can't get fired. He's too legendary.
Oh, 100%. No, yeah. 100%. Jose, what about you?
Yeah, so I was thinking about Steve Bruce as getting fired, but then I remembered I watch a lot of True Geordie. He's a Newcastle fan, and he had this whole conspiracy theory where he thinks that the Newcastle owners want to keep Bruce so that they get relegated and then they can sell their club. So I feel like Bruce may not get fired. I think I'm gonna go for Vieira to get fired first.
Yeah. I mean, coming to me, I actually disagree. I actually think the Watford manager, and I'm blanking on his name, but Watford have a history of constantly sacking their managers. If you guys don't remember, Watford just have a big history of just sacking managers constantly. And for me, he's actually the front runner for me to get sacked, and then Patrick Vieira after that.
Yeah,
next.
I was thinking that same thing with Watford. I didn't know who it was, but I was just thinking they've always had a name. Yeah, they've always had a history of like rash decisions, but it says his name's Zisco, and he's pretty young. He's only 40, so he's bringing an attacking philosophy. So yeah, it might. Yeah, you're right. It's not looking good. We'll see.
There we go. That's his name. I completely blanked on that. Next, the dark horse to exceed expectations this season. We all saw how West Ham were just unreal last season. I don't think West Ham will live up to the same standards. I mean they're missing, the one and only Lingardinho. I actually think Manchester United are going to keep him, unfortunately, which I think Jesse Lingard should go, but I think Lingard's going to stay because West Ham won't cough up the money that Man United want, which is just way too much with a year left on his contract. But the dark horse to exceed expectations. Cyrus, starting with you.
Go with Brentwood. I'm sorry, Brentford, not Brentwood. For sure. I think that they were challenging to go up for many years. You see
What the connection?
Cyrus, we're good. We might have lost.
It's Gylfi Sigurdsson cutting off his power.
God, let's just Cyrus goes Brentford. I mean, that could be a decent shot. Cyrus, buddy, you're breaking up.
This is actually like the best analysis we've had all episode.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tragic to see one of our co-hosts' connection just there he is. Woo! He's back. Unbelievable. Serious. You put that so beautifully in terms of your analysis on Brentford. Would you mind repeating that, because you broke up the moment you started talking?
Yeah, sure. Did you just hear me say Brentford and that's it?
Basically, yeah.
I was just saying like how so many young players have come out of the Brentford team in previous years. You saw Ollie Watkins, other players. I think that they have a really good club, good management throughout the club. Their owners really brilliant, and I think they're going to be really good this year. Actually, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
All right, Andre, what about you?
I think it depends how you define dark horse in terms of like a West Ham last year, where you have someone in the top half doing already really well and finishing that high. I don't think you'll have it, because I think every team has a lot of expectations this season. I think every team has high hopes of the ones that are realistically there. In terms of a Brentford doing well, kind of almost like a Leeds United last year, then I think there are a lot of they're a mid-table. They could go for mid-table despite just coming into the season. So I think that's how we're going to define dark horse this season. In terms of a really high achieving dark horse, I don't think we're going to have it. We'll see.
No, it doesn't have to be high achieving, just a dark horse in general.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the definition of a dark horse is how I determine it. I think Brentford is I think Brentford will do well.
All right. Jose, what about you?
I was gonna say something similar to what Andre said. I feel like it's really hard to see some really high achieving dark horse like West Ham again this season. I think that a lot of things are kind of set this season, and there's not really going to be much that's going to surprise us. If I had to pick someone, I might even go Arsenal. I feel like a lot of people are thinking Arsenal are going to finish 8th or 9th again. I can see them finishing 5th. I think that Leeds might even be a good shout. I think a lot of people might be predicting that Leeds are going to fall off a bit this season, finish somewhere like 14th, 15th, when I think that they're going to finish probably 9th or 10th. Brentford, I would love to see them do well. I don't think they have the experience to be to do that well. I think that they can fight and they can stay in the Premier League, but I think that that'll be about it.
Yeah. I actually, or for what all of you said collectively, I almost fully agree with that. But if I had to choose one team that's dark horse, in terms of just looking at just the blatant obvious options, Aston Villa for me. They've gone on a rampant summer spending spree, and I think Aston Villa will be rewarded by that, by finishing in a European spot. But at the same time, you never know with Aston Villa. They are so unbelievably inconsistent. They were unbelievably inconsistent last season, and I actually sense they'll be inconsistent again this season. But for me, if there had to be one in terms of just high finishing dark horses, it'd be Aston Villa. But with the whole Brentford thing, I actually 100% agree with that. Next, biggest disappointment in terms of teams. I mean, in terms of teams I can think of, there are several. Um, um, and seriously, I'll start with you. Who would you say is your disappointment? Your biggest disappointment?
I was gonna say Tottenham, but I think everyone knows they're already a disappointment. I honestly, Andre says that they're rebuilding. They're not rebuilding anything. Well, what are they rebuilding? Shit. So I think it's gonna be Liverpool. To be honest, they haven't made the greatest of signings. They got a new center back, but I think Van Dijk is just not gonna be the same player he was. It's my opinion though.
All right. Andre, what about you?
Uh, it, it's a tough one. I think I'm just gonna go West Ham just because of how well they did last season, and then I don't think they'll hit those same heights.
Um, uh, Jose, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Cyrus. I'm gonna say specifically Liverpool's attack. I think they'll be pretty solid defensively, but I think they'll really struggle to score goals this season.
All right. For me, I'm gonna go Everton. I think Everton are gonna be even worse than they were this past season. I actually think they're gonna be so much worse. I just don't think the players will adjust to Rafa Benitez's playing style. James Rodriguez, he's already unhappy. It's so clear he doesn't want to be there, and he just wants to be, reunited with his favorite manager and partner, Carlo Ancelotti. Wherever he is, he will follow. I mean, that's really the reason why he joined Everton in the first place. But yeah, for me, it's definitely going to be Everton for the biggest disappointment. I could throw in either of the North London clubs in there as well, Liverpool, West Ham. But if I'm really trying to point out a specific, unique one, I'm going to go Everton. Golden Boot. Serious, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot?
I personally, before the season, I thought it was going to be Gylfi. He scores 13. But I think instead I'm going to have to go Aubameyang. It's going to be a comeback season. I'm feeling the comeback season. I don't care if he's been bad during preseason. It's just going to happen. Thank you, Andre.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the same. Thank you, Andre, for that. Andre, so who's your Golden Boot winner?
I'm actually gonna go with Mo Salah. I think he's gonna come back with a really strong season. I think he'll be the shining bright in Liverpool's overall struggle this season.
All right. Jose, what about you?
I think it'll be close. I think if Harry Kane goes to Man City, it'll be him. If not, it'll be close between Romelu Lukaku and Brian Hill.
Not
legend though, just about.
Icon. And for me, it's got to be Ice Cold Tony. Ice Cold Tony, ice cold in front of goal. No. That's a tough one. I actually agree with what you said about Harry Kane. If he goes to Manchester City, I think he's gonna blow everyone away. Mohamed Salah is up there for the Golden Boot. Just his scoring record last year for a shambolic Liverpool side, it was quite impressive. He finished second. I think he finished second in the Golden Boot race. Anyways, it's a tough one. I don't think there's. Other than Mo Salah, maybe Harry Kane if he goes to City, I think it's going to be super tight in terms of goals. But yeah, that's my take on it. Next, Player of the Year. Serious, who do you think is going to win the Player of the Year?
This is a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to go with. I'm deciding between Salah and Aubameyang. I'm gonna go with Salah though.
Okay.
I think Aubameyang may have the most goals, but I think Salah is gonna contribute a lot, especially to Liverpool side that need him. I was gonna say Bruno, but no. After his Euros, no.
I fully agree with you there. Bruno Fernandes just had a really poor Euros, to be honest with you. But it's Bruno Fernandes. I'm not worried about our Portuguese Magnifico. I'm not worried about him at all. If there's one player I shouldn't be worried about for me in terms of performance on the pitch, it's Bruno. And I know all the British commentators will slag him off because that's their favorite thing to do when it comes to foreign players. But I think he's gonna have a good season, Bruno Fernandes, but I don't think he won Player of the Year. Andre, what about you?
I honestly don't even know how to choose this award anymore because of how they chose it last year with giving KDB, who I think just
Yeah,
did not deserve it, man. So it's like I don't even know who to even go with anymore because I don't know what they go off of to choose this award. Yeah, I honestly I don't even want to give one answer. I don't even know. Just fuck the FA for giving it to KDB. So it seems like they're always like a year late on whoever they're choosing. Like they always go from the season before. It makes no sense.
Exactly.
So I don't. Maybe they'll give it to Kane undeservedly, honestly.
Jose, what about you?
I'd probably go De Bruyne because I think that City are going to win it and that he's going to be the best player in that team.
I fully agree with that. I'm actually going to go with Kevin De Bruyne as well. I think he's going to win it again. Unfortunately, I think City will also walk away with it as well at the end of the season again. But into
we're Chelsea to win the league. Maybe Conte could get a shot actually.
No,
or some other
He
superstar.
get injured. He's been getting injured a lot in recent years.
That's true.
Yeah, he's too injury prone for me.
Yeah.
Young Player of the Year. Cyrus, what's your Young Player of the Year?
I know a guy who likes young players, but I think I'm gonna go with Emile Smith-Rowe, the new number 10. I think he's gonna win it. I think new number 10. He's gonna play like a prime Ozil, 2015, 2016. So
I mean, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, he's got a quality attacking midfielder to learn from in Willian, who looks like 10 pounds overweight when we saw him come back from preseason. But yeah, he's got a quality teacher in Willian. How do you think Willian's gonna do in terms of teaching the youngsters how to play Cyrus?
Personally, if Willian gets a minute this season, fire Arteta.
Okay. Andre, what about you?
It's a tough one because there are like a few superstars this season who qualified to be young player of the year. Like for example, Sancho is really young, so I think he qualifies to win it. But I do think, unfortunately, I hate him that I'm saying this, but I think Greenwood is the strongest to win it.
Yeah, Mason Greenwood could be up there. I mean, I've seen progression in terms of just his growth as a player, but also as an individual because I know he was getting literally brutalized by the press last year, and he had a really difficult season, especially in the beginning of last season. Dealing with a lot of personal issues and passing with a close friend and whatnot, and the whole England dropping and whatnot. I mean that's tough for any young kid. But especially, looking at the color of his skin, that's he's in an even worse position, honestly, because Phil Foden. I'll say exactly what Alice was telling me when I was talking with her. I mean, the media literally suck off Phil Foden. I mean, that's really what she said. Carbon copy. I agree with that. Despite him being a very, very fantastic player. I think Greenwood's gonna get even better this season. But Jose, what about you?
Yeah, I would agree with Andre. I think it could be Greenwood as long as he gets the game time. I think that if Martial and Cavani get injured and he gets a real run at the number 9, I think he could definitely get it.
I'm actually going to go with Bukayo Saka. I know I waxed, lyricals about this guy all last season. And I know Cyrus did. But I just think he's going to come up again for Arsenal. I know, he's the kid needs a break. And I think Arteta's going to just try and rotate a bit more. Of course, he's going to be like one of those undisputed stars because he should be at this point. But I think Bukayo Saka is just going to get even better. He's going to get even better. And for me, he's just really growing as a player. Every time I see him on the pitch, for England, he had a spectacular Euros and heartbreaking in Euros final, which, my full support goes to, Bukayo Saka along with Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho and with them as well. But I think Bukayo Saka is just going to have another unbelievable season. And last but not least, the Golden Glove. Who's going to get the Golden Glove? Who's going to be the best keeper in the league this season? Cyrus, starting with you.
Well, it's definitely not going to be Leno. That's for sure. But I have a good prediction here. This might be a horrible prediction. I personally think that Lloris is going to have a shocking season. Therefore, Golani is going to come in. He's going to win it because, with that Spurs defense, they're going to have a lot of shots. I think Golani's going to – I think he's going to be good. I've heard some good things. So I think it's going to be them. When you have Eric Dyer on your side, you're going to have a lot of shots. So.
Andre, are you agreeing with any of this, or do you have a different pick for your keeper of the year?
No, I don't agree because you don't even debate the goalkeeper. It's based off clean sheets, isn't it? Whatever. No, I think maybe Mendy could get it. I think it'll be either Ederson or him. I think it'll just, yeah.
All right. Jose, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going for Mendy. I was gonna also ask Cyrus if he knows that the golden boot or the golden glove was about who gets the most clean sheets. But I think it'll be Mendy because of the way that Chelsea play.
All right. Well, in terms of the Golden Glove, I already know who they're going to give it to. They're going to give it to Ederson just because, it's Ederson and he'll probably win the league again with Man City. And of course, just because you win the league, that means you're automatically the best goalkeeper. FA logic. Gotta love it. But no, I actually agree with Mendy. I think he's been a superstar since he's come into Chelsea. If it weren't for Mendy, Chelsea would not even be anywhere near where they would be right now. So yeah, for me, it would definitely have to be Mendy. Anyways, we have reached the end of our season 2 opener. Anything else that you lot would something relevant and something that isn't just going to completely destroy the tempo of our show? I would like to say before we head on out for the first time this season. Wonderful. All right. Well, wherever you are watching this in the world, thanks for watching this. If you want to take a look at our platforms, links in the description below. We are back. We are all back, and we are all so excited to be back again, hosting Premier League Primetime. And wherever you are watching this in the world, please have a great day / evening.